Hi, my name is Kayla Spencer, and today we will be discussing Euphoria.
Kat, what the fuck is your problem? You're being a bad friend now. You are a bad friend to me, and this whole new personality is seriously unlikable.
Okay, so I know the show's been out for like a year and a half now, and I know that like everybody's watched it, everybody's done commentary over it, and whatever. And I'm a year and a half late, but like I still wanted to come on here and kind of give my opinions and my thoughts about the characters and scenes and the whole bit, because the show they just released, I think it was yesterday or today, that the show is now being pushed back to 2022, which I'm not actually shocked by. Like, they only recorded 8 episodes, but they got to edit and stuff like that, and everybody's on different schedules. But even then, I just kind of wanted to do this video because I made a really cool thumbnail for it. I hope you guys like the thumbnail. I made it myself. I was like, I have to get this out. I've been trying to record this video for 2 weeks now, so here we are. Let's go. I love the characters. I love the fashion. I love the makeup. I love the hair. I love the glitter and the esque of it. It was very aesthetic. And I mean, honestly, I'm going to tell you this. Euphoria is the first show that I ever watched that really reflected what people actually act like. I mean, obviously, nobody talks like Cassie and Maddy, obviously, but the whole, like, because now the whole late 90s 2000s style is in, and a lot of shows don't really have that. Most of the shows that we watch are old. Teen Wolf, Gossip Girl, I don't know, Awkward, Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, The OC. A lot of these shows came out when some people were just being born, some people were in elementary. Like, I was in elementary, kind of kindergarten, I was basically in elementary when these shows came out. And so we don't dress like that anymore. We don't talk like that anymore. We don't hold them gadgets. So they're very outdated. Like Gossip Girl. I love Gossip Girl, but very unrealistic. Euphoria is kind of the first show of this millennia that really shows how teens dress. And the show, honestly, I would say Rue's character is unrealistic in the sense of like the drugs. Like, you don't really see teens doing drugs. Like, she was doing like drugs, right? Like, you don't really see kids doing drugs like that. But like Rue having the whole panic attacks and the OCD, kids do have that today. Now we have this whole mental health agenda, and everybody's speaking out, and we have celebrities and innovators and influencer, everybody's talking about it. I think that's the only thing we can relate to with Rue. So I just like how this show really reflects on how teens are today. Kids have abortions, I mean, we know the abortion law passed, and a lot of people can't get them anymore, which is effed up. We're not going to get into that, but kids get abortions like Cassie, right? There are girls like Rue with OCD and panic attack. There's girls like Jules who are transgender, who are trying to figure out who they are and trying to get their shit together, but then they can. And then there's guys like Nate who question their sexuality. There's girls like Kat. So these characters are fictional, but they're kind of real in a sense of like what people go through today. So I'm going to be talking about characters. I'm going to be talking about scenes. Sam Levinson, the man that created the show, I've been seeing a lot of quotes lately about how season 2 is going to be more I'll find the quote and I'll put up on the screen, but basically this next season is going to be very not gruesome, but it's going to be very, very bold, very it's gonna be more than you think. I think he was like, take out what you think and because that's not gonna happen. Let's go into our characters. So first we're gonna talk about Cassie. Cassie has to be, she had a really interesting storyline to me. Did not see her storyline coming at all. I don't think we watch shows where girls have gotten pregnant and gotten abortions, but we've never actually seen it like her in the room, the whole doctor with the gloves. I'm gonna try to insert the clip, but the doctor with the gloves and her laying on the bed, and the nurse is holding her hand and she's squeezing her eyes shut, and she goes into her happy place, which is her ice skating. We don't really get scenes like that. And I liked how Sam Levinson really honed in on that, because it really showed you the thoughts and the emotions and like what goes through a young girl's mind when getting an abortion. I was kind of sad that she got it. I was actually crossing my fingers. I was like, please don't let her get this abortion, because I feel like Cassie would be like a really good mother. Even though like her mom was an alcoholic, and you know, because the father left and she's got to cope and yada yada yada. But honestly, she has a really good mom. Her mom may be a drunk, but she has a really good mom, and she was there for her through everything. But with Cassie's character is very much daddy issues, right? That girl, we all know that girl who didn't have a father, and so she looks for love and kind of a father figure in boys older than her or boys her age. And sadly, as we know that she was messing with these guys, and then her news got leaked, and sex videos, sex videos of her got leaked, and we know in the first video Nate shows them and he's like, she's a whore and yada yada yada. Cassie is not a whore, meaning like she sleeps with guys not to sleep with guys like, ooh, you know, your first love is your father, right? Like the first person to love you, the first man to love you in your life is your father. So when girls get older and they're looking for a man to love, they look for somebody close to their father. For Cassie, she had a father, but then her father left, and remember he was on the heroin, and you know, he like went to the house in the middle of the night and was like stealing china and stuff to like sell it for heroin for money. And that was kind of like the turning point in Cassie's life. Now we're going to move on to her and Mckay. I liked her and Mckay. I thought they were a perfect couple. The problem with Mckay was that he just couldn't let her past go. And that's the thing with a lot of guys. A lot of guys, like, they don't want a girl who slept with more. They don't want a virgin, but they don't want a girl who slept with more than one guy. Like, she's used, she's tainted. Like, they don't want a girl who's basically been around the block. And we all know Cassie's been around the block. But just because you sleep with a lot of guys doesn't necessarily mean you're a whore or a hoe. That just means you just want to live life. Guys do it all the time, so why can't girls do it? But sadly, I will say this, there will always be a stigma with girls sleeping around, guys sleeping around. There will always be that stigma. I know we don't want a stigma, but there will always be a stigma with that. But for Mckay, him and Cassie could have worked. And I do think I'm going to make a prediction. In season 2, I do think that her and Mckay are going to get back together. I think it's going to happen. Maybe for a short period. Maybe she'll meet somebody else. I hope she does. I kind of want her to get with Mckay. I kind of don't want her to get with Mckay. Because Mckay, he lets Nate get in his head. He lets Nate, you know, Nate call, like, even at the carnival where he wouldn't, like, you know, he wouldn't acknowledge Cassie as his girlfriend. I just think that I'm intertwining Mckay with Cassie. We're just gonna do it like that. But I think Mckay just needs to, like, calm the F down. He needs to just take a chill pill. Cassie did what she did in the past. Let it go. And just be with her. For Cassie season 2, I do think what I think is gonna happen with Cassie, I think that Mckay is probably gonna come and see her, or she's gonna go and see him, and she's gonna tell him how she got the abortion. I do think he's gonna be mad though, even though he was like, when she told him that she was pregnant, he was like, we can't be taking care of baby right now. Like, what are you talking about? Da, 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 da. He clearly didn't want the child. But I do think that when she tells him that she got an abortion, I think he's gonna be mad. I think he's gonna be like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you notify me? But you know what? It may be the end of her and Mckay. I think it's going to be the end of her and Mckay. Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm kind of working through my brain, I think it's going to be the end of them. But I do hope that she ends up with somebody else. For Mckay, if he's not with Cassie, I don't know what his storyline is going to be. Is he just going to, like, fade out? Because I don't know what would be the significance of him if he's not with Cassie. Now we're on the topic of Cassie. Let's add in the whole Daniel situation. Now, Daniel, I don't know. I think it was the second time around when I watched the show, I realized that Daniel was the guy, if you didn't know, when Rue was telling the story of Kat, and Kat was with that guy when she was younger, that guy was actually Daniel. And I was like, oh my God, I don't think I realized that till the second time around when I watched. I was like, oh my God, that's him. What happened to that guy? Daniel, we really thought he liked Cassie though. Like, we really thought, like, oh wow, like, okay, he's better than Mckay, like, he actually likes her. But no. In the scene where he was making out with Cassie in the room, He was like, nobody's gonna ever want you, like you're only good for LA. I was like, on one hand, I was like, but then I was like, damn, like he just like laid her out flat. I was like, I ain't never seen a character been eaten up that bad. Blair ate up Serena, but no. Daniel ate up Cassie. But Cassie associates sex with love. Like, she thinks if a guy has sex with her, like, it's love, like, you know. And she falls in love too easily. That girl, you tell her she pretty, she down for the prowl. I was like, child. Like, Mckay was like, you look really pretty tonight. And she was down for anything. So I think Cassie just needs to work on getting to know someone and, like, really knowing if they're right for you. Let's talk about Nate. Now, Nate, Nate had me rolling the dough. For Nate's character, I loved what Sam Levinson did with his character. I felt like Nate was like a true raw character of like a guy fighting through his sexuality. Trying to be over masculine to try to give off this mask, like, oh, there's no way I could be gay. Look how masculine I am, because people associate masculinity with sex, and you could be gay and be masculine. There's a lot of masculine gay men. There's a lot of feminine straight men. So, you know, that whole masculinity thing doesn't really work. And, you know, Nate was trying to be over masculine. Like, there was a scene where he's on the football field and he's pounding his chest and stuff, and he's trying to be like, yeah, look at me, look how masculine I am. And I think he gets that from his father. You know, his father's sexual. I would say his father is because his father has sex with transgender. But with the father, I would say the father is gay. And this is what I think. This is why I think it. His father is gay because I think his father likes men, but his father thinks if I have sex with a transgender female, is technically not a man, because transgender females identify as obviously female, even if they have the man part, right? Just because your organs don't identify your gender. So I think that's what his father does. I think his father has sex with transgender females to say, oh, I'm not into guys, I'm into girls, because she identifies as a girl. But I think he likes the girl because she has the man part. Therefore, I think he's gay. Now with Nate, that's getting deep. Like, if you are shown something, when you're introduced to something when you're younger, like with Nate, he was a prepubescent boy. He'd never seen, you know, pornography before. He never was shown that. And so for him to just magically see it, and the thing about it is your body is going to react to anything sexual, like anything, whether it be girl, boy, girl, it doesn't matter. Your body is going to have a natural reaction. It doesn't mean you're gay or you're lesbian or nothing. It's just natural for a person's body to react to something sexual going on. So in this case for Nate, he saw it and he was like, now what's this? This is interesting. My father is a man having sex with a woman with the man part. Like, it probably didn't make sense to him, but he probably had a natural sexual reaction to it and he probably liked it. And then he thought, and I think from Nate seeing it as a child, I think he saw his father as being weak, right? Like, oh, look at him hiding this part of him. I think Nate associates masculinity with sexual identity. And I think that he saw his father doing what he did, and he automatically assumed, like, oh, my father's weak. If that makes any sense. My father's weak, my father's this, my father's that. So I think as he got older, he tried to one-up his father by being over masculine, by being the best of the best, by showing everybody, you know, look, I'm Nate Jacobs. Look at me. Look how powerful and big and strong I am. You know, look at my girlfriend. Don't even get me started with Maddy. But I'll talk about that later. But look how masculine I am. You know, it goes back to that masculinity. But I think that mostly he did all of that to try to shy away what he was really feeling. Like Kat said, sexuality is a spectrum. You know, it is. It's a spectrum. Sexuality is a big, wide spectrum. Just accept it. Just accept what you like and deal with it. But for Nate, I don't think he would ever accept being gay. I don't think he would ever accept being gay. Now, let's talk about the scene in the bedroom where his father held him down. When I watched it for the first time with my aunt. Me and my aunt were like, I was scared. I had never seen a character ever, like, we've seen characters be mad in shows and movies, but that scene, I would tell you, Jacob Elderoy acted that scene out, honey. He went from kissing booth to that. He ate that up. The banging of the head on the ground, the redness of his skin, the anger he felt that his father walked out the room and was like, okay, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna let you do what you gotta do. I think his father knew. His father knew exactly why Nate reacted the way he did. I think his father knew what he saw. I think his father knew what he was going through. And maybe his father went through the same thing when he was younger. Who knows? But that scene was really, really painful to watch. All that anger, all that pain, and you can tell he's been holding that in for years. And sometimes you just want to scream. All the pressure, all the whatever is going on. Sometimes you just want to scream, and he did. My predictions for Nate. We'll talk about Nate and Maddy's relationship later on in the video, but let's talk about Nate. For Nate, my predictions for season 2. There is a scene that they released in Euphoria where Nate is sitting at the table having cereal with his brother. I do think that Nate's probably going to wake up the next morning and act like that never happened. I really do think. I think him and his father are going to act like that never happened. They're going to act like you weren't just banging your head on the ground last night screaming to the top of your lungs in your underwear. I would like to see Nate have a relationship with the transgender female. Not Jules. But I would like to see him explore. And I do think we're going to see Nate either go to therapy or explore his sexuality. I think it's what's going to happen. I think we're going to see a lot of rebellion from Nate and all that. And let's talk about Nate blackmailing Jules. That, I was like, I know he blackmailed her. He blackmailed her. I was like, okay. And the way he beat up that guy that was in the pool with Maddy, he beat him up. I was scared watching that scene. I was like, to hear the screams and I'm sorry, stop. I was like, he beat that man up. And then when he got out I'm gonna tell you this, I thought he was gonna R-word him. I thought he was gonna R-word the guy. I really thought that I was like, what if no? But he didn't. And then he got out the shower and put his clothes on. I was like, this man is a straight sociopath. Like Maddy said, he's a sociopath. Like, oh my God. I think this all developed just from that moment when he saw those tapes of his father. Rue was not interesting to me at all. She just basically was doing drugs and obsessing with Jules the whole time. I did not find Rue to be that deep of a character. Narrators are never interesting. I think everybody knows this. The narrator of a show is never going to be the most interesting character. It's always the other characters. But Rue was boring to me. She was. I'm sorry, but that whining and feel bad for me, my father died. Girl, anybody got time for that? I know Rue has all these emotions, but I just did not care, honestly. She was a very boring character to me, but I would say I did like the deepness of Rue. Like her, I don't know. I liked Rue, but then I didn't like Rue. And I liked the deepness of her, but I didn't like the deepness of her. She's just getting on my nerves all the time. I don't know. I don't really care about her character. What I think's gonna happen with Rue, we'll probably see her back on drugs again, because that's her character and they have to keep her on drugs because that's the essence of Rue. So I think she's going to get back on drugs again. We'll probably see her struggling with Jules, trying to get the relationship together. But that's really all I have to say about Rue. I do want to talk about the scene. Zendaya really acted out Rue. I mean, she really did that with Rue. The scene where Rue got out the hospital and they were doing that montage where she was singing to the car to her sister, just singing in the car to Gia, and then it's back and forth between her and her mom arguing in the hallway and Gia watching. That scene was really painful. It was really sad, but it was really good acting. But I think Rue's gonna get back on drugs and be on her merry way. That's all we have to say about Rue. Let's talk about Kat. Kat was, I was trying to figure out, like when I rewatched Euphoria for this video, I was trying to like figure out Kat. Like, why is she doing what she's doing? And I kind of have an answer, but I don't know if it's right or wrong. But this is what I think. With Kat, she was the type of girl that I don't think Kat ever considered herself pretty because she was fat. And then when she got older, she realized, I think I'm ugly because I'm fat, but no, I just think I'm ugly because I'm ugly. Maybe. And I think that she was like, okay, well, in order for me to feel pretty, I can't be thinking about my weight. I need to really hone in on myself. I need to not focus on being fat, but focus on, okay, what am I going to do with my fatness? And she went to the mall, she got new clothes, she got makeup, and she empowered herself, and she became this beautiful, fat goddess of a woman. And she really like honed that character. And I think Kat, like, she gained a big amount of confidence. I do think that ever since that whole Daniel thing happened when she was younger, she just thinks that like there's no possible way a guy could possibly love her for her. And you know, when she goes to the carnival with Ethan, and Ethan's talking to that girl about the schedule or whatever, and Kat thinks he's flirting with another girl, and she drops the cups and runs away. And I thought it was like, okay, maybe she was jealous because like the girl was skinny and she was not, and maybe she thought like, oh, he wanted, I don't know, that's kind of what I thought, but I was like, no, not really. But Kat is like a very jealous girl, which most girls are. And I mean, she could have walked up to him and be like, hey, what's going on, instead of just assuming that he was cheating on her or anything. But I think Kat is the type of character that she thinks she has to look a certain, like I was thinking like maybe she looks at Cassie and Maddy and not seeing like, oh, they're pretty because they're skinny, but seeing how confident they are in the clothes they wear and how they carry themselves, even though they have their own problems also. But I think that for Kat, she thinks, I have to dress like this, I have to act like this, I have to be this powerful, domineering, voluptuous woman. I think she thinks she has to overcompensate because she's heftier than the other girls. And like even at the carnival where you see her having sex with that guy in the booth, and you know, he CUMs inside of her, and she's like almost sucking in his soul. Like she gets a thrill out of having control over somebody. And I think because people always had control over her in a way, and I think it's like, oh, look at me, I'm controlling him, right? I can dictate all this. For my predictions for season 2 of Kat, I do think Kat is gonna stop with the clothes. I think she's gonna simmer down, and I think her and Ethan are going. I love that she ended up with Ethan at the end. I was like, oh my god, like I'm into it. I think that her and Ethan are gonna settle down. I think she's gonna stop dressing the way she does, and I think we're gonna kind of see a mellow Kat for the second season. I don't think she's gonna have any big storylines. I think she's just gonna be like Lexi, you know, just kind of there. Let's talk about Maddy. Maddy was a very dense character to me. Maddy was dumb. Okay, I don't want to hear nobody in the comments saying Maddy was smart. Maddy was dumb. But I think Maddy all in all had a really good childhood, kind of. It wasn't as severe as the other characters. Now, touching on Maddy and her relationship with Nate, I do think that she loves Nate. I really do think that she loves Nate. But, you know, even she knows, like, even when they were at the dance, and she was like, I know that we're not healthy for each other. You're abusive and you're problematic, and you're psychotic, and you need to work on yourself. And, you know, so she even recognized at the end, like, you know, we're not good for each other. But I do think that she really, truly loved Nate. I don't think it was any bull crapping about it. I think how she likes that he loved her and he protected her and he was there for her. But ultimately, girl, you gotta let that go, because he choked her against the RV right at the carnival, and then in the bedroom, he roughed her up in the face. And I was like, oh my God. And I think that she stays with him because, like most girls, I can fix him. I can be like, girl, you're not Tessa from After. Okay, you're not Anastasia Steele. Like, y'all can't be fixing these men. Like, that's not real. I think that Maddy just needs to let him go and let Nate kind of figure out what he likes and where they want to go. For Maddy, for season 2 predictions, I do think that we're gonna see Maddy kind of messing around, not messing around with Nate, but I do think we're gonna see her and Nate still together, but not really. I do hope that Maddy gets some brain cells. I hope that she's not like this season 2. She's a very fun character to watch, but she's very dense. So I hope that she gets a little bit smart as season 2 goes on. I would like for her and Nate to kind of be best friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's like the person, because it seems like the only person he could really talk to is Maddy. And so there is some trust there. There's some, you know, he can't even talk to his own family about it. So I do think that, I hope that him and Maddy become best friends. And he, you know, because I think that'd be kind of interesting. Jules, oh my God. Jules was up, Jules was down. Now, we all know Jules was born a boy, but then she ended up becoming a girl. Now she's a transgender female. She's very slutty with her clothes, and she's, you know, sleeps with random men, and yada, yada, yada. What I think about Jules is that when she became a female, I think she associated, like, I think it was the episode of, like, the Sea Blob, and she mentioned how she was like trying to sleep with guys and trying to act more feminine to approach, so she can seem like a female. And I think that the clothes and the hair and the sleeping with random men, I think she did that not to feel something, but just to prove that she was indeed a female. I do think that Jules is one of the most lovable and most interesting characters from the show. A lot of people identify with Jules. A lot of people love Jules. Even though Jules had toxic traits, which honestly, we all have toxic traits. We can't help that. Do I think that Jules really loved Rue? Yes. But not like that. Like, even at the last episode where Rue was like, hey, do you love Anna? And she was like, yeah. And, you know, but then she said she loves Rue, but then she left Rue. You don't leave the person you love. So I don't think she actually loves Rue. I think she likes Rue as a friend, and she's just stringing Rue along. But for Rue and Jules, they rely on each other, you know, and that's not healthy, because Rue, I mean, you know, Jules is not stable. Mentally, she's not stable. And Rue is nowhere near stable, and they rely on each other, and it's unhealthy, you know. I just think that Jules has her own demons she needs to deal with, and Rue needs to battle her own demons. She went sober for Jules, and she didn't go sober for herself. She did it for Jules, and then Jules left her. It's like, well, why do I need to be sober now? I did this for her. Let me get back on the drugs. And so I think they're relying on each other, and they need to split, and Jules needs to figure out her own stuff, and Rue needs to figure out her own stuff. For season 2 predictions, I do hope that Jules goes to more therapy. But what I liked about this was that they had a transgender character. You really don't see a lot of transgender characters in shows or movies. So I like how they had an actual transgender woman playing this character, because, you know, Hunter Schafer, who played Jules, is actually transgender in real life. So she knows the thoughts and the trials and the tribulations of being transgender. And I think that Hunter did a really good job at playing Jules, honest to God. Oh, let's talk about Mckay. I know I talked a little bit about Mckay when I was talking about Cassie, but that's honing on Mckay. Mckay is that type of character where he feels like he has to be best at it. He can't be number 2. He has to be number 1. He has to work the hardest, be the best. He has to be the best football player. He has to be in the best fraternity. And I think all that pressure kind of builds up. And I think him and Nate are a little bit similar in a way where they feel like they have to impress everybody, but they can't really be themselves, and therefore it doesn't make them happy. That leads to a failing relationship with Cassie, him letting Nate get in his head and talk about Cassie and call her a whore and call her a slut and she's easy and she's loose and call her all these names, and Mckay not having a backbone and feeling like, well, I can't officially be with Cassie. I can't show that I'm with Cassie simply because, you know, I mean, what people say about her, and he lets people get in his mind. What I think about with Mckay, I think that, is he going to quit football? I don't think so. I think he's going to stay in football because his father wants him to. I think that he is going to, I think he's going to have kind of a Nate Jacobs episode. I think we are going to see Mckay crack. The scene where Cassie spent that weekend with Mckay at the fraternity and they were sleeping in the bed naked, and then like the fraternity brothers came in and basically like held down Mckay on the ground. I was like, I thought that he was R-worded for like a minute. I was like, did they like R-word him? And I wasn't entirely sure. Had to go online to look it up, and those are kind of the theories, but no, they didn't actually R-word him, but I thought they did. And then after, when they left and he just laid on the ground butt naked and Cassie was on the bed like, what do I do now? I was like, that would be scarred. And then what was crazy, when he went in the bathroom and he started crying, and then he was like, I'm fine, and it was like gone. And I was like, it very much gave me Fiona from Shameless, when Fiona would cry and then she would just suck it up. It was very like alarming, and that goes back to that over masculinity. You know, I feel like Mckay feels like he can't appear weak. He can't appear like he doesn't have it together. He always has to seem like he has it together. He's strong, he's bold. And, you know, that kind of goes back to how his father raised him. But I think his father, as Mckay being a black man in America, he wanted Mckay to always have it together. He wanted Mckay to know what he's going to do. And when you do what you do it the best way you can do. Don't do it the best way you can do it. Do it the perfection. Be the perfect football player. Be the perfect A student. Like, his father wanted him to excel, but he didn't really focus on his son's mental health. With Mckay being black, I think his father saw like, you know, you're gonna have to work harder than everybody else because you're black, you know, which a lot of black kids understand. You know, you have to work 10 times harder because of your skin color, because of your heritage. And I think for Mckay, that kind of zoned in on him. But for Mckay season 2, I think that he's gonna have a breakdown like Nate. There's not really much to say about Lexi. She was just kind of there. I loved how she dressed up in the Bob Ross outfit. That was like so geeky. But there's not really a lot to say about Lexi. I would like to see Lexi end up with a guy in season 2 because she's so awkward and quirky, and it'd be kind of interesting to see her with a guy. There was somebody, I think it was from one of the Euphoria fan pages, posted, it was like a picture of Maud, who plays Lexi, and I forgot the character whoever plays Fez. It was them in the picture, and somebody was in the comments like, what if they ended up being a couple? And I was like, you know what, that would kind of be cool. Fez being this bad boy drug dealer, and then and then Lexi being this cute kind of girlfriend. Like, oh my god, that's drugs. Wow. Like, I think that'd be kind of cute though, us to see more of Lexi's side. Is she angry? Like, more of Lexi's past, because you don't really see a lot of that. You mostly see a lot of Cassie, not really a lot of Lexi. So I would like to see that in season 2. Lastly, let's talk about Fez. For Fez, so I would like to know about Fez's past. We know it's Fez and his brother Ashtray. They clearly don't have any parents, so it's them and their grandmother. I'm assuming that maybe their parents died, or maybe their parents didn't have their stuff together, so they were raised by their grandmother, and maybe the grandmother got sick and then they ended up taking care of her. And so I think Fez got into drugs because he felt that was the only way to be able to pay for the mortgage and take care of his brother and take care of his grandmother. So he was like, okay. I think that Fez likes Rue. I really do think so. I think that he likes Rue a lot, but I would hate to see him with Rue. I just see them more as friends. Like I said before, I would like to see him with Lexi. I would like to know more of his past. I would like to see more of Ashtray, and because Ashtray is hilarious, but I would like to see of their past. Like, how do they get there? What is their story? Because we don't really know anything. Like, what happened to the grandmother? Is she in a coma? I think she's in a coma. Because I know he was bathing her. I think, like, how does she get in the coma? Now, since we've discussed all the characters, we're going to go into big topics. So, number one, we're going to talk about the graphic scenes in this show. A lot of people were angry because they felt like the show was too graphic. And yes, these are adults playing teenagers, but and then these teenagers are showing nudity, it's just weird. It's very much, to a lot of people, it was like child pornography, is what it seemed like to a lot of people. And another question, people were like, why do they have adults playing teens? Now, first of all, there's a child labor law. Okay, so minors can only work for a significant amount of hours on the set. They can't work all hours. Like, Zendaya worked all night on Euphoria. She couldn't do that if she was 16 years old. Kids can't curse. Kids can't show nudity. Kids can't work long hours. So it's easier to have an adult play a teenager because that adult can do more than a teenager. Secondly, the nudity in the show. I had no problem with the nudity. I just watched the show, really. I didn't really care about the nudity, but a lot of people, even teenagers, had a problem with it. Let me tell you something. Kids send nudes. Kids have sex. Kids do drugs. Kids have abortions. This isn't a lie. There is nothing in Euphoria that you haven't seen in your own high school, in your own backyard. I am sick and tired of people watching Euphoria acting like there's just no possible way this is realistic. Teens don't have sex. Teens don't do drugs. Oh no. 14-year-olds don't vape. Get the heck out of here. Euphoria is crazy. It's wild, but you cannot say that Euphoria is unrealistic. Let's just put that into factual evidence. Sam Levinson gave you a real life show on actual teenagers in the 21st century, and y'all can't deal with it, and y'all want to bash it, and you want to talk about the graphics in it. Who gives a crap? But I will say this. Maddy showing her areolas in the first episode was really unnecessary. I'm just saying, that was really unnecessary. I would say the nudity was unnecessary, but it was kind of necessary because when you have nudity and cursing, it makes the show more raw and it makes the show more real. Like Shameless. If Shameless didn't have all the R-ratedness to it, it wouldn't be that interesting. It'd just be a trashy family. But to show the nudity and the cursing, it just makes the show more real and more raw, and people can get more in touch with it. Diversity. Somebody on Twitter, I don't know who this was, had the audacity to say that Euphoria was diverse. Where is the diversity at? Because I don't see it. Euphoria is not diverse. It's an amazing show, but it's not diverse. Black people in the show is Zendaya and Algie, who plays Mckay, and that's literally it. And then we have Maddy, who's, I'm assuming, Hispanic, and that's really it. But we be seeing more black people in Euphoria? No, I don't think they're gonna hire a black girl on Euphoria. Do not look for minority-ness in Euphoria, because you're not gonna get it. Trust me. Visuals in the show was amazing. The visuals, the fashion, it was just so beautiful. Like, I mean, when Euphoria came out, remember everyone was doing the makeup and everybody was playing the music. Euphoria, honestly, truly iconic. That show is 100% original. There is nothing in that show that's copied from anything else. The fashion is of its own. The makeup is of its own. I love their prom, the balloons and the colors. I mean, I'm like, now this is a prom. My prom was pretty, but it wasn't like no Euphoria. That prom was beautiful. Oh my God. And the clothes. First of all, the dress code. the dress code in Euphoria. Oh my God. They were basically half naked, but you know, hey, it's not real. And I don't think California, are they based in California? I think they are. But California, some California schools don't have dress codes, I heard. But yeah, but I mean, it was so beautiful. It was so creative. Wrap up, because I have nothing. I've said everything in this video, but let's wrap it up. Euphoria is going to be amazing. I think it's fabulous that they're taking their time with it, because that lets us know they have a lot of stuff that they're doing. There's a lot going on, and they've been recording nonstop. I think season 2 is going to be amazing. I hope it's amazing, because if it's not, I'm going to be pissed off, because we've been waiting almost 2.5 years for this. Not 2.5 years. Well, yes. It's coming out 2022. We've been waiting 2.5 years. Eventually, it'll be 2.5 years for this show. So I just want to say this season 2 better be amazing. I want to see. I know there's gonna be a new character. I don't know what his part's gonna play. I don't know what his part's gonna be, but there is gonna be a new character. But they better eat this season up, because if you're making us wait this long, I'm thinking it's going to be some Avengers crap. I want the fashion to be hitting. I want the dialogue to be hitting. I want the characters to be hitting. Like, I want to expect the unexpected. I want to be blown out of my seat. That's all I have for this video today. This is my first video for the Honey Girl Culture channel. If you want, you can follow my other YouTube channel, which is called honeygirlbooks, where I basically talk about everything book related. I have 3 videos out currently. If you want to follow my social medias, they will all be in the description box below. That's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.
Kat, what the fuck is your problem? You're being a bad friend now. You were a bad friend to me, and this whole new personality is seriously unlikable. World Store!
Why? Because I won't sit and listen to you bitch and moan about your psychotic, abusive boyfriend who you've literally broken up with 1,000 times?
It was literally the lowest point in my life.